Good morning, monsters, and welcome to this week's episode of Monsters on the Edge here on the Untold Radio Network. I am your host, Barnaby Jones from Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. We have a great show lined up for you today. We have not one, but two amazing guests with us, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Today's show is unfortunately going to be pre-recorded, so if you're watching this live at the regular scheduled time, and we're not here to take your questions at this time, but we are going to have a great show anyway for you coming up in just a couple weeks. If you want to meet myself and my team in person, we are going to be at Obscura Paracon March 21st through the 22nd in DeKalb, Illinois. Going to be a great event. obscuraparacon.com for all your tickets and information. Then we are heading to Contact Modalities Expo May 1st through the 3rd in Delavan, Wisconsin. Myself and fellow Untold radio host Dean Bertram will be there as well as a ton of other great presenters and speakers. And then we head to Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Convention in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, Saturday, May 9th. 2 speaker rooms, workshops, and 40 vendors. Going to be a great weekend, kicking off Friday with a kids Bigfoot hike, led by myself, Chris McCreary, Lauren Smith, and Kelly Milner-Halls. Daytime hike for all the young Bigfooters out there that want to get out in the woods safely and during the daylight and learn all the ins and outs of Bigfooting. And for the braver, we also have a night hike that weekend, Friday the 8th. Myself, Chris McCurry, Lauren Smith, as well as Jay Bachochin, Ken Gerhard, and Larry Eisler will be joining us. Then, guys, we head down to Chicago for the Chicago Paranormal Convention, Saturday, June 13th. And then we head to October and a couple library presentations. You can find all the information and more at wisconsincaps.com. Click on the Public Events tab. I am rushing through that because, like I said, we have a great show and I want to get into it this week. So without any further ado, we have the presenters from a awesome Bigfoot documentary. Let's get into it.
I think the mystery of Bigfoot and the unknown of Bigfoot, and that there could be something to solve out there, was what really got me involved.
There is nothing to fear but fear itself.
There's something up there. Something's moving with us. Whatever it is, it's huge.
The coordinators of one of those Bigfoot connections reached out to me and said, Renee, there's this kid. There's this kid over in the UK, and you need to hear from him. And that was Daniel Lee Barnett. It takes somebody pretty special to bring me back into the Bigfoot world, let alone get on a plane, leave my family, and jump the pond.
It began when kind of I sat with Gramps and we were watching Expedition Bigfoot and Finding Bigfoot, and it's grown and grown and grown. It went on to me finding old world monkey DNA in this same forest, and has just blown up into now this, which is incredible. The world changes at night, and it's just getting through that. We have one shot. Now's the time to do it. We are literally on the heel of this thing. Guys, there is a heat signature. God, oh my God, something is right there. Yeah, right where he's pointing towards, there was something just there.
I just saw him move, I saw it.
I'm just gonna say it right out. We've just seen Bigfoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show two of the stars of the documentary RPG and Daniel Lee Barnett. Guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you for being here.
No problems. It is a fantastic time to be back. And I don't know who that other guy is, Barnaby, but
He's the guy that was early.
Yeah. He's the guy who just follows you around in the woods.
That's true. When his dad can't be there, I'm stand-in dad. That's the amazing thing. People confuse his dad and I all the time. So it's awesome. We're brothers from other mothers.
You do kind of look like each other, yeah.
Oh, dude, once we get the cap and everything, I just need to have cooler jewelry, more of a leading man guitarist vibe, and then it would be perfect.
Speaking of, I gotta say that, for anybody, you don't get to see this, but at the bottom of my screen, I get to see everyone backstage during the opening music, and RPG's just rocking away back there. So.
Dude, okay, if there was an award show for best intro music for all podcasts on any specific network, Untold Network would win that at the moment. We're going to work on it. Legend Seeker Network's going to work on it. But, dude, your songs are... I want to blast it in my radio driving down the street with my kids. Like, that's how good it is, you know?
You can thank our Lord and Savior, Doug Hychek, for that. He produces all those and directs them. Most of them. I think some people do their own, but I know he did mine and the video and everything for it. So
yeah. Well, ripping barn doors off is always cool for me, you know.
Absolutely, guys. I'm so happy to have you guys back. I know the show's going to be a lot of fun. We're gonna kick things off because the last time I had you on, Daniel, your documentary hadn't come out. And Ryan, I haven't talked to you for a long time, so we're gonna have to catch up and see what you've been up to as well. But let's start off. I mean, we just watched the trailer for this. This is My Bigfoot Life, and it is. I just got a chance to watch this today. I wanted it to be fresh in my mind and everything coming into this show, and I gotta tell you, I didn't know what it really was. Like what the documentary and stuff was. I expected. My Bigfoot Life, going out looking for Bigfoot, like a lot of this stuff was, and it was really so much more than that. It was nothing like what I expected it to be, and I honestly say that it was better than what I expected it to be. Not because I didn't expect it to be good, but because it went in a completely different direction that was surprisingly good. Like I really enjoyed it, and I gotta be honest and tell you that it's not. It's a story about Bigfoot, but it's a story about you, Daniel, and your life and coming full circle into all this and the changes and everything that you and everybody that was in it went through. So awesome. Let's get into it, Daniel.
So Just before you ask your first question, Barnaby, I'll just ask. So yeah, I'm so pleased you loved it. Who's your favorite person, Ryan or me? Who's your favorite one?
Daniel loves to put you on the spot with the tough
Who
question.
was out of the two of you, I gotta go with Daniel. I mean, I'm sorry. The whole documentary is about you. I mean, like, you know, Ryan's just like I said.
I'm gonna
Ryan's
send
kind
Pickle
of
Rick
around
after
through the
you.
woods.
I'm gonna send Pickle Rick after you, Barnaby, and you know what he's capable of. No, of course.
I was blown away by your guest stars as well. I mean, Daniel, you got to. I mean, for the distance that you come in this documentary, you know, that's kind of what this whole thing focuses around is the life-changing journey of not just the search for Bigfoot, but the search for yourself as well. And the fact that you get to go out and experience that with some of the biggest names, you know, like the top researchers that have been doing this, and people grow up watching. I mean, you got Renee, you got Bobo, you got Ronnie, you got Ryan, you got, I mean, and Brian as well is in there, and I didn't even know he was part of this. And he shows up. I'm like, hey, he's on the network. So tell us, like, how is this journey for you? How did it come to be? Like, how did it impact you?
So, I gotta say, it was. We kind of put the story into small words more when it comes to kind of the doc, but all of it happened at once. It was I will always remember it. I asked to think of Great Florida Bigfoot Conference, and we started this idea for the production company. We love this, so it all happened at the same time, and it kind of, and then it kept rolling, and then it just got to April before when it was actually filming, and then I still have that video that Ryan stood in the tube to get on the plane. I still have that first video. It's that thing of it's then that excitement of then doing filming. And then there's so many memories of being behind the scenes, and then it just a lot of people think with films and documentaries it's all fun, but that was one thing that I didn't want. I didn't want it to be planned and rigid, and it's like, Ryan, am I right in saying in the beginning of it, we didn't even have US in our mind? I think it wasn't until the end of the UK shoot we made a joke about it, and then we kind of said, and then it kind of evolved.
First off, you're kind of quiet. I don't know if you can talk more directly into the microphone or turn it up or something, but just so we get a better audio there. But yeah, it's fascinating. Like you're saying, like you started off in the UK, didn't plan on going to the US, and it just kind of happened as it. There you go. Oh, you're better.
There you go.
Yeah. Now
the whole thing again, please.
Start over. But yeah, it really was. So what? For Ryan, what is that like for you? I mean, like it was kind of organic as well. Like you started off, you brought Renee and everybody over to the UK for that, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, before we do that, it's a testament to Daniel's producing skills, right? Like anybody that's watching this that wants to know how to, let's just say, make a documentary about what they're going through. First of all, go get it, do it. But do not be afraid to pick up the phone and call everyone that you want to be a part of it. And some will, some will not, but don't have that fear. Daniel is fearless in that way. He will call the president of the United States and be like, I need you to open this park because we're coming Bigfooting. And sometimes that's all that needs to happen. And then the momentum you get from hearing yes just pushes you further to create something. Like you said, it's filled with all these lovable characters from our space. Anyway, so that's a testament to him. But before I give him all the credit, because he is a teenager, so I don't want that head to explode on stage, we always have to go back to great parenting. His parents and his family support, which this film showcases wonderfully. is very powerful and healthy as healthy can be. Because Daniel is a superstar, but Daniel's a pain in the butt, just like every good superstar is. And as a result, they have formed this superhero team around him, and they've gotten him to this amazing point. Most of us are never going to know Daniel and what he really has gone through. And the fact that he could stand and deliver in front of 3,000 people after being selectively, nonverbal, that alone should be like standing applause, and for him and his family. So anyway, I don't mean to sidebar, but it's beautiful. We all have struggles, some more than others. And this movie is proof that I don't care what your struggle is, you can go live your dream, absolutely. So anyway, but for me, see, I tried to get a hold of Daniel for like 2 years after.
No. No. Right. Okay.
Now his microphone works.
So I must say, I obviously, Barnaby, I don't want to go too much into the background because we've done a lot about that. But when I watched Expedition Bigfoot for the very first time, RPG popped up on the screen, and so at that moment I reached out to him. 2 days later, he read the message. It shows I've got the photo to say he read the message. And then he never replied. He could have been part of Expedition Deer. He could have been part of everything from day one, before Chris Alsford in the doc. Or he decided not to and joined late. And I will always joke about it because he could have been in the picture first, but he wasn't. So
now, like any under-evolved individual, I'm going to throw the blame somewhere else. I was trained by the great James Bobo Fay, and he never checked any social media ever. So I never checked it ever. And guess what? The great James Bobo Fay was wrong. And so I was wrong. I could have spent less time in a dark depression phase after falling from the show, and I could have joined this, but everything works as it's supposed to, right? So that's why meeting Daniel, that brought me full circle and healed me and set me on the new path, which is I always dreamed about doing what we accomplished with the Barnett family with my own family, and life's going to do that. Sometimes it's not going to be yours, it's going to be someone else's, and you've got to be humble enough and passionate still enough to join them. And I'm so lucky they had me on, and I'm grateful. And it turned out, as you know, like powerful, fantastic, resonates. This top 10, if you had to do 10 Bigfoot documentary films and that's all you get for the rest of your life, My Bigfoot Life would be in there. It should be. It's very unique. It's more than, but yet has DNA in it. Has a real Bigfoot encounter. It's like a James Bond film. You're going from England to Florida to England to the Pacific Northwest. It's epic. It's like overly epic. You're like, wait, what? So kudos to M&M Productions for getting that done. Kudos to Daniel and his family for taking as you know, since you've seen it, and we'll get to it, a ride that was dangerous and scary. Yeah. So anyway.
We've talked about, the last time we were on, Ryan, about, having to be removed from Expedition Bigfoot and stuff like that and all that. And you bring that up in the documentary, and just now as well, like that, you have this huge opportunity. You're going to be the star of the show and then ripped right away from you. And it's really cool because, not only do we see Daniel in this, but you and Chris and everybody else in this documentary goes through that evolution of, like being afraid of the dark or walking out on, doing new adventures and stuff. And like I said, it was pleasantly surprising of this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And it was a lot better and just an all around, like, not Hallmark movie, but morals and
it was
lessons to it, and that was really cool. It really was.
I think and there's a and especially Chris is underrated in the doc because I won't spoil the story for Chris because Chris loves telling this story, but we kind of got connected through Messenger, and I laugh at the story every time. But he came to the very first children's convention I did, And we kind of met and we were talking, and Gramps and Chris were hitting it off, and we just kept talking. We did an interview. I still got that interview, and we then just started to move together, and then we kind of then started the podcast, and I then invited him on and said, right, we can try it. We then actually ran a Bigfoot research team for must have been a year, and say a lot of that goes unnoticed, but then it was the fact of that Chris didn't as a former Queen's Guard, he does what he does, and Chris didn't really have that group of friends, I am gonna say, in the fact of, and he went from not talking on a podcast to then doing that film. So I think it's like each an individual person in the doc has their own story, as well as myself, as well as Ryan, as well as Dad, as well as everyone in the doc. It goes as far back as Gramps to say that he's been watching this for God knows how long, and there are so many behind the scenes moments that we really didn't get to put in the doc, but it was like Gramps did an interview to say that he sat with his idol in the middle of the forest, pitch black, could hardly see him, and they were just talking for hours.
So let me break down that story, because it is so beautiful. So the genesis of this, like Daniel said, is he comes in and sees Gramps, who's an amazing love. Gramps and Nan they're my grandparents now, and Daniel, whenever I get in trouble with Daniel, he takes him away from me because he knows that actually stings me. I can't go to Nan's for tea time. You might as well just shoot me in the foot. So but he sat there on that couch, and imagine being a family that's doing everything it can to help their next generation to love this child. And what it ended up taking was a fascination with something in the woods, a steward of nature. And to sit on that couch with a gentleman that loved it, but never thought it would go any further than that, just fascinated by it, to then cut to years later, now sitting on nature's couch on a log in the woods with this gentleman, James Bobo Fay, that he's always wanted to meet, never thought he would, but his son, that's why we encourage the next generation. He took it to this epic next level, and he's watching his grandson and his son-in-law race up the most crazy, verdant, dangerous hill possible, chasing Bigfoot. And now he is in an episode of Finding Bigfoot, of Expedition Bigfoot, sitting with Bobo, watching it unfold in front of him. Like there's just so many perspectives in it, and if you keep watching it, you will see how profound it was for everyone. And the beautiful thing is, we found that we're all wearing masks. Everyone. It's not just Daniel. Daniel's just brave enough to say it, and then once he said it, that's usually what it takes. Then you usually have an aha moment. You're like, oh man, I wear a mask too. Chris Allsford's wearing a mask. Yeah,
I'm the best at it.
Yeah, you absolutely are. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. But we hope that by simply viewing this film, you recognize that you too are wearing a mask, and it's okay to take it down. People are going to love you. People are going to love you anyway. And the ones that don't, they were never meant to be there anyway. And the sooner you shake that off, the less time you spend caught up in that BS, So anyway, it's just, we can go any direction with this. It's so beautiful and powerful. And
we can talk more about the mask in a second here. I do want to go back and say, like, you mentioned Gramps meeting Bobo, and that, that scene at the end when he's talking about, inspiring Daniel and helping him and meeting Bobo. That was a really impressive scene.
So if I kind of paint a picture for everyone, so we me, Ryan and Dad and Monica and that, we had tried to orchestrate in the fact of that Gramps did not meet Bobo until that moment on camera. So what no one knows, and I think it's the first time we've said this, Ryan, is Gramps did not meet Bobo until that very second. Right. So that was not that he didn't kind of pretend it. He didn't. So we purposely kept them both apart. So then when we came together, that was true emotion from Gramps. That was
Mhm.
that was someone going straight into that and not even kind of meeting the guy first, and you got the cameras filming, and I think, Barnaby, you are absolutely right, and it's a perfect scene. And then even I didn't realize until months later that when I go to bring, because the part of the interview is cut where Brian comes in, Chris comes in, Nan comes in, Dad comes in, and you will see them crying there. The only two people that aren't crying are me and Ryan, so I would give Ryan that one. But
That's the only time I didn't
In
cry.
that scene, he doesn't. Yeah, there
in
you go.
that scene, in that scene, and we'll go on to that a little bit later. But she's doing it now, right?
Yeah,
But it's that fact of that. Gramps, that was a very special moment for him, and I think that was just one of the most perfect and natural scenes, and there's loads of them in there, but that is a great one.
And let's go a little deeper into it. So what that scene, what we were trying to create in that scene, which you know, when you do documentaries, you cut a lot. Like, we could have made this 8 hours long, you know, maybe we should have, but you got to conform so that people will watch it. That was our Goonies moment. Gramps and Daniel were Mikey meeting One-Eyed Willie and having this moment. And then everyone, as it was going, once the emotion kind of came down a little, they all came in behind and stood there, you know, holding back their own tears, because what you were bearing witness to was truth. It was real. It was Gramps not only meeting someone that he never dreamed he would meet, it's also him coming to the realization that his fascination with relic hominids has helped his son find his voice. That's like wildly powerful. And that's what I mean. This film has that in it, which, no, that's not your standard Bigfoot film. It's not just interviews with people that have had experiences. This is about transformation as well. And that's, you know, like I always tell people, bring a box of tissues with you, because it's going to hit you. This is going to hit you and you won't understand what angle. But yeah, that was a Goonies moment, man. That's when he found treasure, you know, true treasure.
I mean, like I said, every character, we'll just call him. I mean, this isn't you know, made up. This is real, you know, this is real people's lives and real stories and stuff. But I say character because you guys are all characters. We all are. I mean, like, you have to be a larger than life character. And this goes back to your whole mask thing too.
Yeah.
You know, is, you know, the people that you see on TV, you know, these characters, the larger in life personas, and here they are living these real moments, you know, even Renee, the people that everyone hates from Finding Bigfoot because she's the skeptic and, oh, she's so terrible and stuff. And you get to see this other side of her, you know, we'll say, like, coming out of retirement to come back and be part of this and be inspired to inspire the next generation. I mean, I've gotten the chance to meet her in person at several conventions, and she spends so much time with kids. Like, she is always surrounded by the youth and stuff there. And, you know, the adults and stuff, she'll give them the time of day and everything, you know, like, oh, you know, it's nice to meet you, whatever. But the kids, like, she'll talk to them at length on end. And just the fact to inspire that next generation and bring that out is fascinating to, you know, it's just a beautiful thing to see her, you know, do that. So.
And so if I kind of share one of the main messages that I keep saying to everyone, is that this documentary, it's like, there's so many people in the Bigfoot world that haven't watched it yet that go, oh, it's a Bigfoot doc. I go, well, I kind of sigh and go, there are so many messages in this doc, and one of the main messages for me is that it shows the greatness and, I'm going to say, awesomeness that come with autism. But what not a lot of people expect is to see the challenges that come with autism as well. Now, the first thing that I said to Monica when I had that very first meeting with her, with Dad, Mum, Nan, and that, I said, look, there's 3 things I want. Number 1, nothing is to be faked in this doc, and that's just. Number 2, I want to direct it with you to make sure, and not as a to really see how the story arc forms. And number 3, I don't want it rigid. So I kind of literally went, I want this story to unfold. And that's exactly what it did. And there were bits in there, and our RPG, you can say on this is there were so many bits that were really unexpected, really unexpected. But everything in that doc was true. And I think the only bit that was staged was the interviews, as in where when kind of Ryan almost cries at the very beginning, going, my name's Ryan RPG, Golembeske, and that kind of stuff. But I think that's where I love it, and that's where I think a lot of people love this doc, is that nothing in this is exaggerated, and I think what also, because there are so many emotional bits in this doc, the end bit is really powerful for all of us, and I think especially for us 5 to be stood up on this mountain, which we'll go to in a bit, and spoiler alert if no one's seen it, but that's an emotional bit. But what a lot of people find emotional is the middle bit, and I'll kind of pass it to you there, Mr. Golembeske.
Oh, really? You're going to give me that part?
Yeah, I will now.
Okay, so I always go back to, if you're setting out on a journey to create something, in this case a documentary, you are going to meet characters, as Barnaby said, along the way. Some of those characters are going to stay by your side for a day, some for years, like Chris and I with Daniel now, and some are going to come in and they're going to exit rather quickly, and some are going to transform while filming. And in the beginning, they're going to promise that they are going to protect you from all of the monsters and sharks in our space, which we do. Which, if you're even mildly a Bigfooter and you cruise the different sites, you're going to see the personalities, and some of them are highly abrasive. And without going into detail, unless Daniel wants to, I don't think it's necessary. And I don't think you need to be a genius to figure out kind of who and what. But let's just say one of the people on this adventure who started out saying, I'm going to protect you from all the monsters, then went on to become the very monster that they promised to protect Daniel from. And that was, here's something about the Barnett family. They keep their kids very close. They know how dangerous and how scary the world can be, but more importantly, they understand the human animal and how unpredictable it can be. And Daniel's right. He's the best at wearing his mask. You will never know. People, he's so good. People are like, he doesn't have autism. You don't have autism, which is a compliment. Should be a compliment. But he does. And when somebody that he lets into his heart, and then you correct me if I'm wrong, it's very hard to get into Daniel's heart or his family's heart. Trust me, it took me 2 years for me to be able to hang out with him alone in a room. You know what I mean? Like I got 4 kids. Like but you can't blame him because of the way the world is. And in the middle of this production, when everything's going right, guess what life does to you? It hits you with a curveball to see, do you have true grit? Do you have what it takes to finish this? And Daniel stands on that precipice before going to the Pacific Northwest, because he was told that he would be in danger and the people he loved would be in danger when they get there. We have all the emails, we have everything. So, but at the same time, I think it's important to say that, because it's kind of a mystery. You go solve it. You go figure it out. Yeah. So Daniel stands at this spot where he wonders, do I get on this plane? And now imagine facing that. Imagine, always try to put yourself in other people's shoes, and you see it in this film. Now, as a producer, I fought to show it in all its horror and all its everything. And what we ended up with, which is why it's a teamwork, right? Like, you build these films as a team. What we ended up with, I think, was perfect and powerful enough, because you see the struggle that Daniel goes through. But here's where you got to give it to the kid. You got to. Would I have gotten on that plane with autism, being that scared, knowing that the people I love could get hurt because it's amplified for him? Probably not. And he did. He's a badass, pardon my French. And he did, because he was Jason, we were the Agronauts, and he needed to go. Could we have filmed? Sure, but it wouldn't have been the same film. This film's about him. It's his journey. And he got on that damn plane. And that, once again, is another moment alone to watch this film, sit there and go, pass me the damn tissues again. You know, this is ridiculous. And you say Hallmark film. No, and you say Hallmark film, but what's funny about that is the company so Nan sang in a choir with a woman named Monica who owns M&M Productions and said, hey, my son, you know, or my grandson, would you like to hear his story and help with it? And she used to do documentaries. I feel like we all used to do that, right? We all used to want like the purest, the true stories. And that team up is what got this going, you know, and got her to take a chance on Daniel. So with everything on the line, man, the kid kept moving forward. This is what we should be inspiring. And I don't care if you're a kid or you're 70 years old and deciding, you know, can I rewrite my life? Can I get into something new? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You will be the biggest bully you will ever face. If you can remove you from it, then you can do extraordinary things like Daniel was able to do in this film. So yeah, another reason to watch it. Anyway, another reason to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that was I have no words for that. I mean, that's just, you know, the internet and, you know, people rearing their ugly head. And, you know, we've gone, personally, my team's gone on expeditions and stuff, and we've gone down to Kentucky, and we said, hey, we're going out in the woods to look for Bigfoot. And they said, you know, well, be careful. So, okay, well, why are there, you know, because it's a brand new woods for us, you know, are there bears, cougar, what do you got down here? And they go, oh, there's people. There's people in the woods. And that's the scariest thing that you're ever going to find in the woods.
And I don't want to go deep in the story because I like people to make their own minds up on what it's almost like ending on a cliffhanger on like a Harry Potter movie or something. Is like, I want people to make their own minds up on what they think. But the thing is we were all in that position. Now Monica was on the plane. And I was on the plane. So Ryan was the only producer that was out in the US. And then we had Chris with us. And we were all on that plane. And Chris looked at me and I looked at Chris that evening, and we all went, do you know what? This isn't worth this. This isn't worth it. And Chris flew all the way to LA and then flew all the way up. Monica stopped in Philadelphia, and then but we did eventually get there. And I think that is the message for all of us, is that we did eventually get there. And yes, it was 2 days after, but we eventually got through that. And I think that is where the main challenge is that it shows the awesomeness and the challenges, and that is real challenge there, because not a lot of people show this on camera. Now, what was I a bit? Ryan was trying to show too much, yeah, probably, but we showed the right amount. And say there's a certain interview in there that don't like that much, but it's that thing of that all this is very, very true. And I think that's the powerful moment in the doc. And say I've sat down, and I will plug this name here. I've sat down with Kevin Pike, and Ryan was with me. And Kevin is the special effects artist for Steven Spielberg, and he's done everything for Back to the Future, Jaws, everything. And we had to pause the film at that point, because he was, and that there's just so many people that are outside the Bigfoot world as well that have just gone, this is incredible. And actually, I think I've actually thinking about branding my Bigfoot Life tissues to actually sign and then send to people.
You should. But that's what this is. So understand this when you're going into it. Is it a Bigfoot documentary? Yes. But the company we teamed up with, they do Christmas Hallmark type movies. So there is a Hallmark glaze to it as well. The emotional component, the diving into how we feel, when normally they would leave that out. You know, so, and it's also a biop. You know, it's the story of his life. So it's a hodgepodge of things, and that's what and maybe Barney, that's part of what surprised you, because you're like, oh, this is it's almost like we keep coming back to Bigfoot and back, but then is it Bigfoot, dude? He's the only person in the public sector, minus a couple, if you believe Melba or not, that has eDNA. This is another thing that people, just because, okay, even our best minds in the space cannot wrap their head around the fact that relic hominids could possibly, the green man, the green woman, could still be in the UK because most of the forests are gone. Okay. It's, first of all, thank you. Thank you for being egotistical, arrogant, and ignorant, because that gives us more time to kind of figure it out before somebody beats us to it. But let's put it down. Let's just stop for a second and go back to being the kids, the little child inside that loves Bigfoot. This young man trained for years to track deer. He wasn't asking to find a foot in the woods. Same like the rest of us. There's no way you'll find a foot in the woods. Well, he found a foot in the woods. And what did he do? He said, well, looks like a print. Let's get eDNA. Okay. So he did it. Still not expecting anything great to come of it. Then what does he do, which is where most of us stop? He got on the phone with the power of autism and called every damn lab he could get a hold of. His parents are getting calls. Hello, this is the Swedenborg Institute. Your son called. Who did you call? What is happening? Like, this should have been in the film. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much awesomeness to it. And he called and called and called. And you know why it's important? As a was once seasoned Hollywood producer, why it's important to make the calls is because eventually you resonate with someone. And one lab resonated with Daniel's story and took a chance on it and were wowed by what they found. Old World Monkey and Great Ape eDNA in the UK. I don't care if you like hearing that or not. It's true. It's true. And if they can exist there, what is that really telling us? They can be anywhere, right on the edge of major cities, probably running into the city, getting on the swing set quick and running out before anyone notices. That's what I'd be doing. That's what I'd be doing.
But that's the most important thing is that and a lot, I keep saying to a lot of people, I don't care what anyone else thinks. But I've had
I do.
So many people,
I'm learning to not.
Yeah, oh God, Ryan. So, but I told you, Barnaby, we'll get there in a second. Then,
I've
Ryan,
been behaved.
but,
I'm actually holding back. So just so you know.
But I've been told that. Oh no, you faked that. Oh no, you did that. Okay, number one. What game would I have in doing that? My father has been told that he went to the supermarket to buy Old World Monkey DNA.
Yeah, Walmart sells that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So it's the things like that and it was truly and to be completely honest, we were out there looking for big cats. That's what we were doing originally. So it was just it was a coincidence that we happened to, and it wasn't even me who found it. Now I will take the credit as much as I can, but it wasn't even me who found it. So it was my grandmother behind me. If only I was steps behind her. But I think it was a magical find that then launched it into everything, such as continuing with my podcast, and then national press got involved, and it kind of then it just leveled and leveled and leveled up until we reached now. So
let me pause here for a second, because I want to get into this a little bit, because we've talked about the emotional side of this documentary and stuff, and the surprisingness of it. But again, this is a Bigfoot documentary, and there is, for the purist of Bigfoot documentary watching, there is Bigfoot in this documentary. There is evidence, there is science, there is stuff in there as well. So I want to talk about this. Old World Monkey and what was the other part? So I get
Great Ape.
Great Ape. This is what's interesting, is those two aren't even on the same family tree. Your Old World monkeys are monkeys. Now, for anybody that didn't watch VeggieTales, great apes do not have a tail. Monkeys do have a tail. This is exactly how you tell them apart. You can look at go to the zoo and check them out. And I'm fairly up on my zoology and stuff, and there's just no monkeys or apes anywhere in England at all, or pretty much the whole UK. So when you add the Old World Monkey to this, we'll start with Ryan here. What do you think that says about something to do with Bigfoot? Where does that take us? Because we've always talked about like Gigantopithecus and, you know, the Neanderthal and all that stuff of the great ape theory. Well, where does the old world monkey fall into this now?
Yeah, once again, you know, this is what opens this curiosity for all of us. Like, where do we go with that? That doesn't make sense. Was there two of them there? Are they walking within the track? Do they follow like that? Is this the missing link, so to speak, where it's a combination of these old world traits with modern traits? Honestly, we don't know. We can't talk about it, but let's just say new things are happening now that when Daniel goes back into his journals, I'm not going to say, we're seeing a pattern that we're about to pursue, of something that's living there. And I will go where I believe this goes, which is underground. Okay. Genetically, I couldn't explain it to you. I don't know how that's possible, except maybe that is just their genetics. Their genetics has bits of each one of it. I don't know. But they're underground. That is where they're moving. You know what I mean? The Mammoth Cave system in the United States, which most people don't know, they know now, goes from Maine all the way over to New Mexico. It is a giant underground freeway. If you are able to just for a second release on that's a ridiculous thought or theory, and begin to do a shallow dive into underground travel, you will be wowed. There's one that's supposed to go from the west coast of California all the way over to Japan, takes 3.5 years to traverse, but it's underground tunnels. Someone just hit me up on the Untold Network last night on Squatch and Holler, and they gave me that info. And that was, of course, I got no space left in my phone because I film everything. So I'm like, I need a picture of that. I need a picture of that. But if that stands true, there is an underground kingdom of which we are completely ignorant to that would validate whatever Daniel found and his grandma in those woods.
So to kind of go on that, I can go a little bit deeper into it. So the fact is let's just say, see, part of it, this is what I'm telling you about. Say in 2 weeks today, let's just say,
which will be before this airs, by the way.
Yeah, Mr. Golembeske is meeting up with us, let's say. So after February 22nd, I'm going to say, we would have been out in a certain spot. And basically there are some things happening, and I kind of phoned Nan and went, we need to go back in the journals, and we need to go back in our case files to have a look at the dates. Now, obviously, we kept Nan every time we went in the forest, and every time we got back, Nan wrote it down, and every single date we wrote down from it must have been beginning of 2023 to mid 2024. Okay, and that is where I always go back to, and I was taught this. The most important thing is to have a notebook and pen or pencil, whatever, out there, because then it has proven very recently to come in use. It is proven recently to actually increase an investigation by 100%. The fact is now, some of the things that happened to us earlier in 2024 has now repeated history.
Same time of year. You could just say it. Same time.
So
there's a pattern.
The fact is we have some more compelling evidence that we're going to be looking at that is more and more and more and more interesting. But that is where the point of writing everything down, not necessarily me. That's where I always go back to.
That's what assistant's for.
Always be faster than your partner in the forest. You write everything down, because you never know. One day it may come in handy. And actually, I never thought that theory was true until last weekend. And last weekend I was completely proven wrong, which it's not done often. But
wait, you were wrong?
No, no.
Proven wrong. Proven wrong.
I did just say that I was wrong. Did not just say I was wrong. I was proven that the strategy was right.
Let me to go back to your question of how could there be that mix-up of DNA, or how could they have both at the same time? What I was driving to there is, okay, so if they do use karst systems, old volcano tubes, subterranean things, the old world tunnels that are down there, maybe they have some traits from, you know, tree climbing monkeys as opposed to land ones, because when they go underground, they need longer arms to be able to traverse certain sections that ensure that people like us don't get in before they hit their freeways. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, they may have the longer arms of it. And because they kept some of those traits, maybe their DNA shows it stronger than us that have. I'm not a big proponent of evolution, but I'm a firm believer in adaptation and even spontaneous adaptation. You can dive on that. That's how I think it works. So I think they have the traits needed to be an underground people that come up to hunt and to enjoy beautiful vistas, just like any intelligent species would do. So that's my theory. You know?
So so actually going to the very point, so when the scientist phoned Dad, apparently it was that it was completely unexpected that the was found. But then, so obviously I then went on to the phone to my friends at that point, not you, Ryan, when we kind of said where there are two different types of monkeys. There are your old world monkeys, and there are your new world monkeys. No idea where they get names. The old world monkeys are now more rare than your new world monkeys, and we do have monkeys in zoos. Don't get me wrong, we do, but the majority of them are new world monkeys. Now, it is simple as going back to the point of, right, did I go to a zoo in those shoes? Because, as I just said, there are occasional zoos that I have been to with that particular breed of monkey. The answer was no. I was wearing a new pair of shoes that Nan bought me. So that rules that theory out. Okay. So it starts to, you have a massive list and you try and eliminate as much as you possibly can. I've never ever said that this eDNA is Bigfoot, and I won't, because I never actually saw Bigfoot make it. But that's where the science comes in, and you try and science has tried to disprove it. But when you come to, right, simple animals, old world monkey is not in humans. We don't have it. We do have a hint of great ape in us. So the scientists did say that potentially, if we're reaching a long stretch, that could be where that's come from. It did come up as human DNA as well on there, which they're like, yeah. But the old world monkey is like the what? So, but that's where I've spoken to many scientists, researchers, wildlife investigators, things like that, and they can't explain it. And that's why, to this day, I can't explain why you've got two different types of DNA in that. It's like, it doesn't matter how many times I read it over and over again, and it's in two different positions. So we found this one main indentation, and then we went down kind of, I'd say, about 15 minutes away, and it's just, we thought, oh, that's interesting, and it picked it up there as well. So it's not like it's one position. It was two positions. It was on the same.
Hang on a second. You had two different DNA samples from two different locations that both came back with the same DNA. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we sent off.
Yeah.
We sent off 5 different samples. Okay, and they all, I think, without reading it, I think it was 3 that came back with the old world monkey and great ape. It was 2 old world monkey, 2 great ape, 1 both. Okay, I think, and if anyone has my book, it's in there somewhere. So that's where we can kind of Oh, Barnaby, did I send you the link for that?
No, you absolutely did not. Yeah, but I'm good at this. Yeah.
He's professional.
So, but I just, to this day, I cannot explain why they're both in there. So I hope that answers your question.
Not at all, but yeah. Now, let me ask you this, and I know like none of us are probably, you know, specialists in DNA and all that stuff, but you know, we've talked about this 100 times about, you know, how when we think we have Bigfoot DNA, it comes back anomalous or unknown or whatever, right? So, and the reason for that is because all the DNA that we know, like we see a tiger, we stick it with a needle, we pull out DNA, this DNA goes to a tiger. That's how we know that it goes to a tiger. So at the same point of, you know, like how like 99% of our DNA is the same as an earthworm, when we're looking at a human DNA and we don't know that it's human, would you think that it's an earthworm if you knew what an earthworm was? So when we're looking at this, the eDNA that you have down there, you know, the old world monkey, the great ape, are we just kind of going, this kind of all lines up? We don't know what it is, but it could be this, it could be that, kind of similar, you know, where we're only like 1-2% off of these things, but it's something completely different. You know what I mean?
That is a very, very good point. Very good point. That, because it wasn't just that there was caught on there. We had so many other animals that were on there. We had wild boar, which I thought was pretty cool. We had badger, we had deer, we had birds, we had all different types. Had chicken on there for some weird reason. But you're very right that there could be several hits on here that combine to then create something as we might know as Bigfoot DNA. And that's where when everyone says, oh, well, that's not Bigfoot DNA, well, I went, well, okay, all right, fine, but you don't know. So it could be, let's just say for a random thing for a minute, that let's say Bigfoot has old world monkey DNA and chicken DNA. It's that we don't know until, as you said, Barnaby, until we get someone in there and extract DNA, or we will never ever know. But that is the really, really intriguing part that you've just brought up, actually.
And this is what I always thought is, I know money is a huge issue with all this DNA testing and stuff like that, but whenever you have a anomalous DNA that comes back for you know, the supposed Bigfoot DNA, if you could sequence that, and then the next time you have an anomalous DNA, sequence that and see if they match. That is what we need to be doing with this. And again, it comes down to money and science and stuff like that. Is, you know, nobody has the funds, or, you know, nobody's funding this for science to do that. And hopefully, you know, I don't know if you guys know a lot of Darby Orcutt and stuff about what he's doing. You know, maybe he's going to get to that. Maybe he's doing it. But it needs to be fully sequenced, this anomalous one, and matched with other anomalous ones, so that we can say, okay, we don't know what this animal is, but here's its DNA, and it matches this DNA that was found, you know, at this location that was supposed to be a Bigfoot. And here's another one, and here's another one. I think that's probably like our best bet to try and, you know, non-body find these things. You know?
He found proof. The anomalous thing to me is like black bear to first responders and officers and stuff. They're told you saw a black bear. I think when these labs, they get it very rarely. They're just told, just make it anomalous. And that's how they cope with it. And until we have someone that can truly be trusted and do exactly what you're saying, it's people aren't going to think of it. Validates, just if people knew how expensive and difficult it is to get anyone to look at it for you, that alone should be like, well, okay, we got to take this serious. Because then on top of that, for them to be surprised and actually say to Daniel and Nan, can we have 2 more weeks? And they're thinking, oh God, did we mess it up? Because they were like, no. And they went back and they came back and went, you know what? You blew our minds. What is this? That, dude, this should be I just can't wait till the ghost hunters, the Bigfooters, the sea serpent, like we all come together and realize we're one awesome weirdo family that's looking for truth. And we need to, like, when someone finds and does what this kid did, we need to lift that up and we need to focus. Because imagine we took all of our focus power, we would find that one amazing, successful individual who would donate to do exactly what you're saying. Because, yeah, that's what we need. It's what we need, 100%. Yeah.
Have you? Here's the other thing: is with the company that did do the analysis and stuff like that, and this like in the documentary you show like it made newspapers. You're in all these publications, the local news and all that stuff. At what point do another DNA sequencing place, an analysis company, go, hey, let me see that. Let me see the results. Let me compare and do that. And did anybody reach out? Did anybody ask for that? Anybody interested at that point?
I think we had the problem with what the actual company was called SGS, and they told us to manage expectations on both, because obviously they are a company that want to go, it might not be, but it is. It's that kind of. I don't think we actually had another lab contact us. We have had an awful lot of kind of and say it was back. It was back when it came out. We have had a lot of people wanting to look at it and question it, but there is one question that actually I'll always remember. I interviewed Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and Gramps was there with me, and he asked the question of this. Gramps said, is it worth finding this animal and doing what humans do, or is it best to leave it alone and keep the mystery there? Because once we find Bigfoot, all of this and everything stops, because the mystery has gone. That mystery is no longer there of, it could be. Or now I'm kind of in that middle bit there. I want to keep the mystery there, but actually it might be really cool to know what this is. And say, but it's that question of, and I think with the DNA, there is always, when you get a photo or when you get something, or as you said, Barnaby, money, that would cost a lot of money to go back and do, and we don't have that. If they wanted us to pay for it, it wouldn't have happened. None of that would have happened. And sometimes you will never get an answer. And there's an investigation, as RPG hinted at, that we're really excited about currently, yes. That I keep saying there is part of us that will get an answer to something. We will never actually ever know what happened. It's the same with everything else. It's like the biggest Bigfoot mystery of all, the Patterson Gimlin film. There have been Hollywood's artists, Bill Munns from Universal Studios, that have looked at this, that has worked on films like Psycho and worked on all the different amazing horror films that cannot work this out and go, this is what I believe. And that's where sometimes I either like the mystery or I like to find out if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. I think and that's all valid and great. I think that my point is science is based on repeatability, and like I said, it pisses me off that not another company came out and said, let me look at it. This is really intriguing. I want to take a look at that sample. That's what science is. And because nobody's paying that other company to do it, the mystery just ends. And they go, I don't care.
And that, I believe that's coming, right? Every year, the interest in relic hominids grows just a little bit. And that will come in the day where somebody in the lab who runs it or is a top official there also shares the same passion we do. Because in a business that makes money and focuses on money, and anything that could potentially take money and business away from it, they don't touch. Look at the shame game in the world around this. This lab comes out and says, we found Bigfoot. That could potentially ruin business and make money not flow. And there's no money in it. So why would they ever touch it? So I really believe that it will come through the day when one of us sits in that position. And to anyone wondering how you could do it beforehand, it's all about team building. You need to find the person that has the money. You need to build your own lab. You need to keep it completely private until you have it mapped out and big enough. And then you have to have a marketing and a launch campaign that can't be smited. And when you have that, we'll do it. Or if you're someone that's thinking about doing that, we're people that will help you facilitate that. But that's what we'll take. Or eventually, Barnaby, your great-grandchildren are going to be running a lab going, you know what? And it's going to be great, you know?
That's just it. If these things really are our missing link, if they have any DNA, any kind of relation to humans, you would think that with all the medical advancements and stuff, that we would be studying this thing to exploit it. Think of all the adaptations, the vision, to be able to see in the dark, and the muscular structure and all the adaptations these things have to exist, that we couldn't find a way to exploit that to, for medical purposes or something. It just doesn't make sense that, somebody knows something that's holding it back, or it just doesn't make sense. So,
well, not to go conspiracy theorist too much, but you want to know why they want to take weightlifting away from prisoners in jail is because it transforms them with nothing else to do and just time to work out. Everyone becomes quite a beast. Everyone's like a Thor walking around. Well, it's the same thing with us. If it is within your brain space to believe that we might be limited on purpose, why would they do that? Or at least release it to the public sector? My uncle said this one thing to me one time, really tripped me out, and I hate it. But now that I own chickens, I understand it. He had this chicken that learned to pick the locks, would get out, would lead all the other chickens, open up other pens to get them into the other food. And I said, oh my God, that's amazing. That chicken, we should breed it. I didn't even know chickens were smart. That's great. Wait, are you breeding it? He's like, no, I killed it and ate it. And I went, what? But that's what happens. If you are too smart and too clever and you figure out a way out of this beautiful matrix we're in, you got to be careful, because they don't want that. So like I said, make your team and make yourself too big to die, not too big to fail, because you will never fail. Whatever, this is beautiful. If you never find Bigfoot, doesn't matter. Just keep trying, But anyway, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I could talk to you guys all day. I really appreciate your time and stuff. I don't want to keep you. If you guys got more time and you want to keep talking, by all means, we can continue the conversation here. But I want to leave it open to you that, Ryan, what are your final thoughts? What do you want people to take away from this whole journey, and that you've been on with Daniel, and where do you want people to take out of this?
Yeah, I for all this technology and for all this wonderful toys we have, we're more alone than we've ever been. And if you want to reconnect and you want to feel better, find your tribe. That should be your first thing. If your passion is already unknown animals, great. You already know the kind of people you're looking for. Go to conferences, talk to people, treat it like church or synagogue or mosque, whatever. Meet people, find your tribe. We were able to do this. Yes, all glory to Daniel and his family, but it did take a village to make this whole thing happen. And the sooner you find your Avengers unite, your Justice League, the sooner you can start finding your true purpose and literally waking up every day just excited to go tackle it. So the bigger message is you're not alone. You're only alone if you choose to be, because there are a bunch of weirdos out there like us waiting to do cool stuff with you. So please, especially if there's any mental health or anything that's going on, getting into the woods will heal. It's there are all these benefits from, and I could geek out on this for a long time, but just being near trees, the larger the tree you're near, literally hug it. Literally, it can put you into a waking theta state, which is puts you at ease, makes you calm, makes you more in tune with the universe. Take your shoes off. Your shoes are coffins for your feet. Let them connect to the earth. We live in an electromagnetic realm. You are basically an antenna. You're electricity and water. It's so simple. And it seems silly, but just trust an old Bigfooter or a young Bigfooter or a middle-aged Bigfooter, and trust me, the forest heals. And whatever gets you out there, whether it's Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever, let it get you out there and find your tribe. And yeah, you'll be better for it.
Awesome. Daniel, are you happy that you're on the plane? What are your final thoughts?
So I think there's one message, and say mine is out of the Bigfoot world, and it's to every single person on this planet, is you can go to school, you can go to college, you can go to work, whatever. Not everyone learns in four walls, and I think that's a message that everyone is beginning to learn. Not everyone yet. But I think it will. And I think if there is anyone out there that goes, I can't do this, your classroom is closer than you think. I happened to find mine out in the forest. I can't quite decide whether that was a mistake or whether that was the greatest thing ever. But it could be anything. It could be something as simple as history, or I'll say knitting, or whatever. It could be something that you are passionate about. And if someone tells you that's a silly idea, I wouldn't listen if I were you. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. And that is my piece of advice to every single person. And I will encourage anyone out into the woods and anyone out into nature just to breathe. That is all I say. Now, I'm not even sure about shoes taken off, because I will never take my shoes off out in the forest, and I will.
He's
never
got a lot to learn, Barnaby. A lot to learn.
He needs to go to a few metaphysical conferences.
But that is my piece of advice.
Very well.
Sage advice.
All right, we are going to wrap things up here. Ryan, before we go, do you have any conferences, any events, anything coming out, any new books, any projects? What are you working on?
I am asking the Bigfoot community. I have put off doing a book for years. I'm finally on track. I'm finally working on it. So yes, I hope that in my first, not this one we're doing in February, which is going to be awesome, my Bigfoot Life premiere in England, February 20th, 21st. If you are in there or around Somerset or Bridgewater, not spelt with an E, but with a G, Daniel, please come and check it out. It's red carpet. The high sheriff, right, of England, like basically right here.
High sheriff to the king.
High sheriff to the king, the mayor, everyone that made it possible. We're going to be there, and there's that, and there's a meet and greet on Saturday if you can't make it to the premiere itself. But it's a big deal. We're like we've hopefully expressed to your viewers. It's powerful in a way that is good, and people should experience it. So we're gonna wrap it all up in a beautiful red bow on February 20th and 21st. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, I have tons of conference things coming up, but I don't even know where to go with that. Just please pray for me, send good vibes for me to finish my book. I have to do it, and I will be so proud to present that this year. So
awesome. And Daniel, you have a book out as well. Tell everyone where are you going to be, anywhere that Ryan's not going to be, and where can people get your book?
So basically, I will point one thing out that that both me and Ryan were part of an incredible horror film called Bigfoot Primal Fear. That myself and my father will be going to the premiere a week tomorrow in London, which is awesome. And that film will be coming out very soon. So anyone up and down the UK, I've got a couple of conventions lined up with Mr. Craig David Dowsett, and say so that I'll be releasing those very, very soon. And then I've got a couple of other things lined up, and then we are heading to August, on August 28th, 29th, and 30th, I'm going to say. Unfortunately, we've got Ryan coming back, which is unfortunate.
Did you hear that? That's cheering. Did you hear that? That's cheering.
No. I think that's everyone booing. But then we have the two other stars from Expedition Bigfoot, Russell A. Cord and Dr. Mariah Mayer, heading over to the UK, and we will be doing a very, very big convention in August for Movie and Monster Con, and then we also have some other filming in Legend Seekers coming up, which is very, very cool. And in fact, I think the episode dropped today, Ryan, if I'm not
yes
correct.
It did. Yes, it did. Friday.
So yes, but apart from that, yeah.
And your podcast.
Oh. And I also have the Mythical Legends podcast that is now being released on a monthly basis with my partner in crime, Jill Roberts. Is on there, and we interview some of the amazing people in the Bigfoot, paranormal, and cryptozoology world. And that is also released, as I said, on the second week of every month on the Legend Seekers Network and on the Mythical Legends podcast. And we are also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Audible, and a lot more.
Yes, and if you watch the Legend Seekers series that we're in, I do a podcast where we recap and talk about the behind the scenes and all the little fun details that hit the editing room floor, unfortunately. So yeah, check out Legend Seekers, especially if you're a family and especially if you're looking something that's family friendly, accessible, and will inspire you to take that first step into your own adventure.
Legend Seekers Uncut.
Yep, that's right. Amazing host.
There we go. All right. And then, of course, the My Bigfoot Life documentary. I know it is on Amazon. Where else can people find it? Anywhere else?
So, actually, perfect. On 23rd, it'll be after this podcast release, but on the 23rd of February, we have the My Bigfoot Life documentary being released on Apple TV. And then there are some other major networks currently in talks at the moment, but we will let everyone else know where people can find it. But so it'll be out on Apple TV as well, which is awesome.
Very cool. And the link for the Amazon is in the show notes for anybody that wants a quick link to go and check that out as well. So
I sent you that.
Yeah, you did. Sure. We'll go with that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute blast. I can't say enough good things about your documentary. It really was. It was heartwarming. It was beautiful. It was Bigfooty. And it's got everything that you'd want or need in a Bigfoot documentary. So
awesome.
And Barnaby, thank you for creating a space for people to come on and share their experiences, because what we learned from finding Bigfoot or just being in the space for a while is just being able to tell it to somebody that takes you serious and respects you for it. It heals and it makes the world a better place. So thank you for providing a place like that for people.
Absolutely. Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Ryan, thanks again. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night, man. Daniel, you too. Thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you in person someday. Take care. All right, guys, that is our show for this week. Make sure you guys go check out My Bigfoot Life. The link is in the show notes. It is an awesome documentary. Very well done. Very heartwarming, Bigfooty, and all the things that you'd want in a documentary. Go check it out. The link is in the show notes. And until next time, guys, I'll see you on the edge.